Hey everybody, welcome to Write With Us. I'm Micah Craddy. I'm the head of writing at Arc Studio and Butterdocs. Arc Studio is for writing your scripts and Butterdocs is for writing everything else. I'm so happy to be here today. We're going to get some great writing done. Before we get into it, let me know, get in the chat and let me know, where are you? What are you writing today? And our third question, our little writerly discussion question to get the juices flowing is, in what ways have you improved as a writer? And where do you still need improvement? So could you say, like, have you improved, I don't know, in the last year or so, or a couple years, just like where have you grown as a writer? And if you're kind of looking at your own writing, what are the areas you've identified? You're like, oh, this is something I need to get stronger at. And it could be kind of the same issue. And you're like, just, somewhere on the middle of the continuum right there. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe, turn notifications on. And if you like, feel free to hit the little thumbs up. That's always nice to do. If this is your first time, this is Write With Us. Welcome. This is a time and a virtual space for you to get some writing done, to work on your own project, wherever you are, whatever the project is. So we do 3 writing sprints. We start off with a 15-minute warm-up sprint that's pretty chill, just kind of like get your head in the zone. Then we take a break. Then we do a 25-minute writing sprint, take a break, and then end with usually a 30-minute writing sprint, depending on time at the end. During those writing sprints, I'll be quiet. I'm going to have a timer up on screen, play some music, and it's just, you just like get deep into your writing flow and work on your script, your novel, whatever it is, that you're here to write. And then in the breaks between the writing sprints, I like to answer questions about writing. So if you have any writing questions, screenwriting questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll talk about them. And it's always nice to have those questions to talk about, because if you ask a question, I feel like not only are you learning something, but like other people are. Just like getting the discussion going. So feel free, please, to ask questions in the chat. And again, during the breaks is when I'll try to get to those. And then during the second break, I'll show the sandwich of the week, which is just something, that we like to do. I just love sandwiches. All right, so let me answer these questions myself. I am in Los Angeles, California. I'm working on a feature rewrite right now. And that feature rewrite I'm working on kind of has made me think about this question about, like, where have I improved as a writer and where do I still need improvement? And they're kind of connected. So as a writer, the thing I've always sort of been really good at is like moments, like scene moments, character moments, just like really interesting, unexpected, sort of strange, and but emotional, like interesting, deep moments sort of happening in the scripts. And I think my progress as a writer has been a journey to keep the big picture in mind as I go. So I have those smaller moments, but like as I've developed as a writer over the decade plus 10 plus years, that's kind of what I've done. And I think I'm still learning about that. I tend to get tunnel vision as a writer. Like I just get very focused in on these smaller things. And then if you lose sight of the whole, it just kind of ends up making more work for you, because then you have to just kind of go back and be like, all right, now I have to adjust everything and connect everything together. So it's sort of the thing where I get there in the end, but I just kind of feel like if I can getting stronger at keeping that big picture in my mind the whole time, then I just hope it'll save work for me in the long run. So those are my answers to questions. Loving everyone in the chat. Niche in LA starting a new web series episode. Zinnia from Toronto, awesome. Starting to write a short film I'm planning to make. Zinnia, welcome. Cash in Texas working on a short film. Teji in San Jose doing a little plot work today, but going to spend most of your time working the draft. Niche said, "Ooh, this is fun. I saw you're writing great TV characters lesson. That was a good lesson. I think this is what I need to get stronger in, writing a strong character." That's cool. I was going to talk about this a little later, but might as well do it now. She's talking about this course that I've been doing. It's just like a free video course on YouTube. And the first video was it's how to write a great TV pilot. And the first lesson was developing a great idea for a TV show. And the second one, which we just released on Monday, is developing or creating compelling TV characters. So it's this here. So this is on the blog, but it's also on YouTube. And I linked to these in the YouTube description for Arc Studio. So if you want to see these, they're in the link and you can check those out. And this one's about creating great TV characters kind of in 2 ways. One, characters that the audience will connect with and find compelling, but also characters that help you generate stories. That's kind of the big focus of this lesson, because TV shows need to keep going, right? They have more episodes. You need to keep generating more stories. So when you're writing a TV show, you need to create your characters in such a way that who they are and sort of the situation they're in and what they want helps you generate stories moving forward. So that's something that I focus on. So yeah, so awesome, Nisha. I'm so glad that was helpful. ISO 610 in SoCal, working on a pilot co-writing. As a writer, I've improved in showing, not telling, dialogue, and I need improvement on writing and action blocking. Yeah, that is something I talk about a little bit later in some videos I'm going to release, but I think that is just something that does come with time in action blocking. And it's also really something that reading a lot of other scripts can help, because it's a very different form of writing versus like novel writing or other things that you do. So yeah, keep writing. And I recommend reading a lot of scripts for that. Angela, North Carolina. Echo this in Sweden. Awesome. Continue to outline my novel. Fantastic. I got my little Swedish horse here. I'm a quarter Swedish. My grandpa's from Sweden. So awesome. Welcome, Swede. Charles in Denver, working on a screenplay. Still have a problem pushing my day-to-day aside to work on writing, which brings me joy. Yeah, I mean, that's just the constant struggle of writing, especially when you have to support yourself by other means. One thing that I can say on that is carving out times that aren't in the middle of the day. I mean, this is in the middle of people's day, but it's kind of a special time. But when you're on your own, like trying to do it right when you wake up, your first hour, or like at night, the last hour before you go to bed, when the world is quiet, it's much easier to push that day-to-day aside when the world is quiet. When you can't hear the world's not making your phone buzz constantly. So that's, something I recommend. Craig, welcome back from St. Louis, pushing towards end of Act 2 in his novel. Let's say if I've improved in making sure characters drive the plot. Need to work on dialogue in my first revision after the vomit draft. Yeah, I mean, that is such a great thing. Characters driving the plot. I was watching something recently. I mean, I know you're writing a novel, but I was watching a pilot for a show recently. And that's kind of a big show. I'm not gonna say what it was, but like, I remember I just like finished the pilot episode and I just tried to think of like a single decision or that the main character made, or an action that they took. And I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, they were just so passive. I think that's why I didn't like that. So yeah, having your characters drive the plot is so important. And working on dialogue in your first revision after the vomit draft, I think that's also a great strategy. I mean, some people like to like fine tune the dialogue as they go, but I always think that like dialogue is a thing that's great for second drafts, third drafts, etc. Like figuring out the big things, the story, the structure, the character, and then like the dialogue stuff. After that, Samantha in Brooklyn, working on secondary character development. Elia in Italy, doing the first revision of a short story. Improved a lot in dialogue, I think, using subtext. I need improvement overall, but setting descriptions are my weakest point. Yeah, so this is a kind of common thing. Maybe that's something we can talk about a little more later, since a couple people have mentioned that now. Subtext is great. I mean, just think about how many times in your life you use a lot of words with someone when really all you mean is like, I'm happy, I'm sad, or I'm like upset, and you don't say those things, but like, that's so much how we, how we express ourselves as humans and for our characters. So maybe we'll come back also to that scene writing here. Angela, pilot episode. Juno in Massachusetts, welcome. Oh, that's really cool. Teddy says, for the past few months, one of my favorite authors has been mentoring me. That's so cool. With her guidance, I've been learning to make more intentional decisions. That's really cool. I mean, I think that really comes with depth of maturity in writing, is that sometimes you're just like throwing things on the wall. But the more you're making decisions, thinking a couple steps ahead, it saves you a lot of time in the long run. Denise, welcome back. Working a pilot script still, learning to be in free writing and not edit as I go, flow better, edit later. Yeah, it's a great strategy. It's hard to write and edit, be in those same mindsets at the same time. So just like getting in the flow and then keeping going and then coming back to it later is fantastic. Juno, I'd say I've improved the most by just letting myself work on creative projects at all instead of focusing on my day job and telling myself that it was stupid to try to write these kinds of stuff. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to do to improve your writing is to write and give yourself the time to write. So I'm glad that you have that. Lorena's in Pennsylvania. I'm guessing that's Pennsylvania near like the Kentucky border. Awesome. Welcome. Rosie from the UK, work on a feature. Welcome back. Another Rosie in Cabo, working on web series. Fantastic. Samantha is agreeing with what I was talking about, tunnel vision and losing sight of the overall picture. I mean, to a certain extent, you can't escape that, just because like especially me, I just get excited by what I'm writing, and you really have to throw yourself into the moment. So I think there's only so much you can do to keep the big picture in mind as you're kind of like down in it. But it is, yeah, still good to do. Volod from Romania, welcome. Starting a new feature script about a meditation retreat in the Norwegian mountains that goes crazy. Fantastic. Feels a little midsummery there or something. That sounds cool. Darissa, working on a short political parody, the making the time to write. I need to be improving on creative depth of subtext. I'm also working on a pilot in the course, but so helpful so far. Oh, great. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these videos because I put a lot of work into them. And, you can't cover everything. And so I'm just kind of trying to focus on stuff in these video lessons that can be helpful for you guys. Sarah, welcome from Queens, writing the first draft cyberpunk sci-fi drama, Anarchy. Fantastic. Lily, welcome back. No work today. Hope you get some good writing done today. And so you got Sarah here, approved just by writing. Yeah, before a year ago, I'd never written anything, not even a journal. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you're doing that. And still need improvement character work and planning out my characters before I start writing. Yeah, that's what lesson 2 is about. So maybe that will help you out a little bit. It's about TV characters and specifically, but there's a lot of stuff in there that works in characters in general. Sarah feeling that tunnel vision as well. Awesome. Well, this is a good question. I feel like we got some really good stuff to talk about. And maybe we'll talk more about scene writing a little later on. Hold on, let me get this go away. But I feel like, Karen, thank you for being here. And speaking of being here, we're here to write. So I think it's time for the 15-minute writing sprint. Again, this is the one with pretty chill music. It's like a spa for your writing. So that's why I slow down my voice before doing the 15-minute writing sprint. So it's not a sudden shift. So wherever you are, get your document ready. If you're in Arc Studio or Butterdocs or something else, or writing by hand, maybe. I like to do that actually on a legal pad sometimes to switch things up. So let's go the 15-minute sprint. Again, if you have any questions, if you're struggling with anything in particular you want to chat about, we can talk about that in the break. But for now, I'm going to start the 15-minute writing sprint, and then I'll see y'all on the other side. All right, that is the end of the first writing sprint, the very chill writing sprint, maybe a little too chill for some people, but I like to ease into things because, like, when we were talking earlier, the question today is, what have you improved as a writer, and where do you still need to improve? And people are talking about like making time to write and blocking out the day to day. You have everything else in your life, which is important. It's your life, and it also fuels your writing. But like when you're actually writing, you need some separation from that. And I think that that chill first sprint kind of helps me at least like get into a little bit of a meditative of zone right there. So anyways, welcome if you joined us during that writing sprint. This is Write With Us. We just did the first 15-minute writing sprint. We're going to do another 25-minute writing sprint and a 30-minute writing sprint. And during those writing sprints, you just work on your own writing. So how was that first writing sprint for people? How's the writing going today? Are the muses with us? Is it flowing? Anything you're dealing with? Any problems or questions you want to ask about writing or screenwriting? Feel free to drop it in the chat. Welcome to people who came during that sprint. SJC in San Jose. You're in SJC, San Jose, California. Your initials match. Sitcom writer. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Chiwan, who has music was a little too chill for him, but like I understand. Sarah, thanks. I'm so happy to do these sprints and the videos. I love it. Really, it's one of my favorite things here. Play some Dua Lipa and I'm fired up. I can assure you I'm going to play the finest and royalty free music. But like that is also to say, do whatever you need to do for your writing. Like if a writing sprint ends and you're in the zone, just like mute me and keep going. If you don't like the music I'm playing, play your own music. Just like take this time for your writing and use it however you feel best. Welcome, Paula, Jiwon. Thank you for the compliments. It is very minimal. That's why I have a beard, because like I don't actually like doing anything. Lily likes the music. Zinnia likes the music. In the zone. Fantastic. Great. I'm glad a lot of people do like. Zinnia was saying started with the first shot, the description of the scene. Awesome. Niche is saying slow start, but agree with you that sometimes you need to ease into the flow. Yeah, don't put pressure on yourselves, like just you're happy you're here, you're doing it, and it's great. Chiwon, that's a good question. What do I do if I have no inspiration, my mind keeps wandering to real life? I mean, there are only so many things you can do, but there are little things you can do. One, showing up to an event like this where it's like writing and you're just here to write, and that's the expectation, is helpful. There are other little things, like leave your phone in the other room, like turn off your email or whatever, like just really block out all the distractions that you can. Try free writing on something. Find an idea that excites you and chase that down. There's always going to be intrusions of some site, of some type, and there's only so much you can do, like I said, but like, I like to think of it as like probability. Every small thing you do increases the probability of you getting some writing done. So like, just like a big thing I started doing was like leaving my cell phone in another room, and that like helped me so much. Tezi, you could free write in that 15-minute sprint, which I think speaking the writing mindset. Yeah, like I said, that could be a great way to like get in the zone, is to like with a free write, you're doing writer's block so often comes when you're putting pressure on yourself. And if you can just like free yourself of that, it can be so helpful. That's great here. Pure Elevation. My feature script is very long. I've shortened it dramatically, but it's still quite long. Any tips for shortening? Try outlining it again. Go back to your story beats and what you've learned. And that sometimes can really help, because you may realize that you just have scenes in there that aren't actually part of your story or necessary for your story. Cash, I feel like I've improved just by doing it. This is in the works for like 2 years and has gone through many versions, but I've already started to work on it the past few months for 1 year. Fantastic. Juno, that sprint was about rereading the last part, what I have written. It's been a while, so I had to get reoriented. Next sprint, I'll get some words out, I hope. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to start off. It's just like rereading, because like your brain needs to have context, for what it's doing to move forward here. Yeah, agreeing with that iPhone comment, or whatever iPhone you have. It is crazy, like how often we look at our phones. Like it's really crazy, like when you think about it. So anything you can do, like separate from that. It's the constant dopamine hit. I mean, I'm of an age where like I sort of spanned like having smartphones. Like I didn't have one, and then I did have one in my life, and like my attention span is so much shorter now. Like it used to be so much easier for me to read books than it is now. So you really have to like have intention and really like make an effort to block that stuff out. Darissa saying, I'm using the content from lesson 2 for how to write a pilot to help develop my characters and their goals and obstacles. Yeah, so much to do with characters has to do with giving them an external goal, something in your script that they're actively going after, and an internal goal, which is just like some reason, some motivation for why they're doing that thing. And conflict comes from putting obstacles in their way. And conflict is great. Problems are great. That's where stories come from. So highly recommend that. Speaking of the lessons, we're doing an event tomorrow night. Just quick announcement. If you haven't RSVP'd for it or seen it, I'm doing an event tomorrow night with my buddy who's a TV writer, producer, Richard Brandamanis. He did a Q&A with us kind of earlier in the year, and he's coming back, and we're going to talk about creating great TV characters. I'll be chatting with him, and we'll be answering questions from the chat. So if you want to RSVP for that, there should be a link in the YouTube, but it's arcstudiopro.com/events. And also Richard is a character. He's like, looks very serious in this photo. He's the one that's not me. But he's one of the funniest guys I know, and it should be a really fun time. So I highly recommend checking that out. If you have some time, it's 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, and it'll be recorded on our YouTube channel if you can't make it live. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I wanted to talk about setting, just because that was something that a couple people had brought up earlier here before we go into the next sprint. Need improvement at all, but setting descriptions are my weakest point. So there's a couple of points on that I think are important that I just want to mention really quickly. One being, know who you're writing for, because there's this thing in screenwriting which you'll see online a lot that people say, oh, your script is a blueprint. Like it should be bare bones. It's a blueprint for like the director and the actors and the crew, and that's all it is. And I really disagree with that. In a part, it is that, but it is also a sales document. It is also a short story. It is something you're trying to tell. Your first audience that you need to impress is not the crew. It is not the person who's going to watch this when it's made, or the director, or whatever. It is the suits. It's the writers, or sorry, not the writers. It's the agents, the producers, the studio executives, managers, reps, all of those people, their assistants. It's the people who are reading this script and basically deciding whether to fall in love with you as a writer and fall in love with the script. So when you're writing your scene description, keep in mind that you're trying to make it exciting and fun for those people. You don't want to overwrite. You keep it pretty simple, but remember that it should be fun. You can use your voice. There can be some tone in there. I also like to think a lot about the eye. People talk about not using too many camera directions, and I think that can be annoying if you're constantly cut to, pan up, zoom in on. But if you just think about the implication of what you're saying, like if you say a Topo Chico bottle or something, right? It's implied that that's what we're looking at. So you can kind of use the implication of what is the eye looking at? What do you want the reader to have in their mind's eye? And what will the viewer see? And use that as your guide for how you're writing. And then also focus on actions, right? The eventual audience who will watch whatever it is, they'll never know they won't read your script unless they're a super fan or a writer who goes and finds it online. But most of the audience will never read it. They only know what they can see and hear. So try to express the feelings, the themes, the actions, everything through action and dialogue, right? Things that can be seen and heard. You can have a little bit about emotions and thoughts, but you don't want too much of it, because that's not going to be on the screen. So there are some points there. All right. And yeah, I think I've talked a little bit enough for this break. I'm going to come back and we'll chat a little bit more after the next break, but let's get back into writing. This is the 25-minute writing sprint. Music gets a little funkier, and hopefully the writing picks up. And yeah, if you got more questions or anything, drop them in the chat and we can talk about them in the next break. But let's do the 25-minute writing sprint, and I'll catch you all on the other side. All right. And that takes us to the end of the second writing sprint, the 25-minute writing sprint. What I like to think of as like the heart of Write With Us, where I get most of my good writing done. That was pretty good for me. Get in the chat. Let me know if it's still going. Have things picked up? Have the muses abandoned you or come to your aid? That felt really good for me. I don't know. I love the 25-minute writing sprint. I always feel like that's where my best ideas come from. I'm working on this section. I'm kind of trying to reimagine a little, and I think I did it. I don't know. There was a sort of a main problem I was dealing with a character where I was trying to get a character to do something kind of crazy, but like make it emotionally viable that the character would do this. And I feel like maybe I did that. So let me know how it went for you. All right, let's see. Go back into the chat. Some questions here. Awesome. Sarah was asking, can you use a montage in a screenplay if only minutes pass, but the character does a lot of things in those minutes? Yeah, you can. Another thing you might want to look into is something that's very similar to a montage, but it's a series of shots. And it's kind of like a less formal thing that can be like kind of quicker, maybe a little less stylized, where it's just like kind of like this happens like boom, 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 boom. And that might be something to look into, some examples. So maybe like Google series of shots, try to find some examples of that. But the thing I would say is just that like, if it is a short time period that you're covering, like have the individual elements in that montage or series of shots be pretty short and punchy so that it like moves pretty quickly here. Oh, you were asking about that the event that I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah, it is at 4 p.m. tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, and if you can't make it live, it will be recorded. All our events are on the Arc Studio YouTube channel, so yeah, you can find it. You can find it there. Juno's asking, I've asked about directing from the page. I think I have a bad habit of acting from the page too. How much description of facial expressions, etc., is okay? Oh, that is a great question, because I think this is something that I like probably everyone struggles with a little bit. If you're doing that a lot, I think it will stick out. You don't want to act too much. I mean, if there's like a specific thing that you want, like try like mixing in physical movement instead of just facial reaction. Like, do their shoulders tense up? Do they flinch? Do they, like there's different kind of actions they can do. Do they move away? Do they step forward? Like kind of try to expand the physical realm with which you're doing it. And, you have a lot of tools. That's not just the face, right? You have the body movement, you have the position of the characters. You can like use the white space, kind of breaking up your action on the page. So try to like use the full range and don't lean too much into those facial expressions, because I do think your kind of instinct in your asking that question is on the right track, that it's not something you want to do too much. Ayana, welcome from Atlanta. Work on a feature script. Thanks for hosting the script. So glad you're here. Hope you get some great writing done in the time you're here. And Dexter was saying that he's going to be shooting a short film he's been writing with this lovely community. Oh, that's so cool. I love short films. I've like directed like 4 or 5 of them. I mean, I'm a writer, but like I think it's so helpful to learn to direct, to edit too. Not because you're better at those things than someone you could work with, but I just feel like when you learn a lot, and it's just like, it's also something, we're here to create, and short films are a way where you can create, the thing you're writing in a manageable sense. So Dexter, I hope that goes well. Best of luck this weekend, and yeah, let us know how it goes next week. All right, here we go. Cash just finished a movie about 2 hours ago that's very similar to the short film I'm working on. How do I help that inspire me with letting it cross into involuntary plagiarism? Ooh, yeah, no, that's happened to me before as well, where you're writing something and you get very excited about it, and then you're like, wait, isn't this the exact same as that other thing? I don't know, try to take it as a opportunity or a challenge to push your idea further, to go deeper with it, to find something more surprising with it. I mean, really, there's not like an easy answer to that. It's just that you have to find a way to do it differently. I don't know, add a new tone to it. Yeah, take it in a surprising direction. Whatever it is, like find some way to dig deeper. But yeah, it's not easy. You just literally, it means you just gonna have to like think about it really hard and figure out a different way of attacking it. Yeah, that's sorry. I don't have a great one for you there. But that's what I can say. Stuck for the last 5 minutes? Well, let's take a little break. Maybe your mind can reset during this break, and you can come at it fresh in the next one. But yeah, you can always switch to free writing. I don't know. I just like also sometimes though, just don't give up. Like stay there. Kind of if there's a lot to say, just like forcing yourself at times in small windows. Like if it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes, stay there at the computer and like force yourself. In a longer term, great, get up, walk around, take a shower, take a walk around the block, eat something, like let your mind, writer block so much can be about just like giving your brain some other very small task that's not very difficult just to focus on, so that your sort of subconscious, the rest of your brain can kind of just like mull over the issue. So that can help. But ideas picking up here. That's great. Yeah. So it's a mixture. Ilya, muses are a little shy tonight. Teju's saying, tinker with the plot during the 25-minute sprint, and then you're going to work on the draft during the 30. That's great. Oh no, abandoned. Yeah. So some writer's block. There's a little struggle today. That's tough. I'm sorry, guys. Like sometimes there are days like that. But stick at it for the 30-minute sprint. Try to at least, like stay with your document, and like, remember that like progress doesn't always come. Like there are times where I'll be writing for a couple hours and have nothing. And then like the last 5 minutes come up with like one idea that works. And like, to me, that's not a failure. I think that is a success. It's like not all progress requires the same amount of effort or time to do. So like hold on to like whatever progress you can make. Yeah, Barry, welcome back. Trying to finish the first draft. Slow, but finish the scene. All right, so some progress. Some people are having some fun writing there. All right, Zinni is saying, I'm taking notes from a treatment document I've written for the short film, for which I had an outline. Should there be a separate outline for the script draft as well as beats? I mean, trying to like just parse your question here a little bit. I mean, like a treatment you can use as an outline that has to just kind of like do with your writing style. If you feel like you need maybe just like a shorter beat kind of way of writing it out as your to reference as you're writing, then like go for it. But it's not a requirement, I would say. Awesome. Ilya had with the suggestion for Cash. Maybe you can find something you didn't like about it and change the way you want. Don't know if it can help. Yeah. Also, I love you guys like chiming in. It doesn't just have to be me answering everything. You can get in there. Fantastic. All right. And then I'm going to share the sandwich of the week, which it's fall now, and it's slightly cooler in LA, even though it's hot. I was going to share an autumnal theme last week, but it was like 90, so I didn't. It felt like summer. But here we go. My beautiful sandwich of the week. If you're new, this is just something I like to do because I love sandwiches. And I made this sandwich, and this was probably the prettiest sandwich that I made this week. It's ciabatta, which I've been rolling with lately, turkey and turkey bacon, Gouda, greens, avocado, mayo, mustard, pickle. It was a tasty little sandwich, I have to say. I enjoyed it. And I don't know, I like this little angle. You get a little bit of that crust, a little bit of the fluffy bread. There's just something about the composition here that I thought would look good. And I added this little fall theme, just, for the season, just to get us in the mood for fall. I'm sure for some of you, it does feel colder now. For me here in LA, it just feels like second summer. But I think actually next week it's going to drop down and start feeling a little cooler, which is nice. Like any change of temperature in LA is to be celebrated. Yes, the bread is fantastic. I like it. It is all about the bread. I mean, that's just the most important thing in my mind, I think. So there we go. The sandwich of the week. All right. And now, let's do it. Let's move forward to the last sprint, the 30-minute sprint. Darissa, this is a sad question. Do I have a go-to mayo brand? I use light mayonnaise, which for health reasons, I prefer the like full fat stuff. But anyways, that's just a sore subject here. But yeah, I don't have a go-to mayo. I wish I had more freedom in my mayo. Although I will say, actually, sometimes my fiance, she gets this Japanese mayo. It's like Kewpie or something like that. And I will occasionally use it, and it's fantastic. I don't know if you guys have had that that Japanese mayo. It comes in like a bag, like a plastic bag, sort of this like bottle, and it's really good. And so occasionally I will splurge a little and have that. And Aaliyah here doing your own mayo at home. All right, that's cool. Maybe we'll have to try that someday. Maybe there's like, yeah, some day where I can like bake the bread and make the mayo and like, I don't know, can you make mustard? Maybe. I guess you can. It's just mustard seeds probably. Like make everything and like have a full sandwich. That would be special. Yeah, QP. That's the special Japanese mayo that I was talking about, which I think you can like order online, and I think also some stores have it. And it's oh yeah, people love it. I guess that's like a thing. It's like a cool thing that people know about that I only like recently learned about. Cool. All right, now let's do that 30-minute sprint. If you have to leave, thank you so much for coming today. I loved the chat. It was very active, a lot of questions, a lot of good discussion. People like helping each other, which I really love. Yeah, if you have to leave, no worries. Just say goodbye in the chat. I'd love to hear how it went, what you did today. Said farewell. And I will give you a general farewell if you have to leave during the next sprint. If not, I will say final goodbyes after the 30-minute sprint if you're going to stick out all the way to the end, the diehards. But yeah, it's been a really good session. I know some people are struggling a little bit with the words today, but don't worry, like give yourself credit for like making time for your writing. Because sometimes you have to go through those rough periods to get to like the fertile periods. So here we go. All right. So the 30-minute sprint, if you're going to stay to the end, catch you on the other side. If not, happy writing, everybody. Have a great week and hope to see some of you tomorrow at the event and the rest next week for the next Write With Us. But here we go. 30 minutes on the clock. Happy writing. And that takes us to the end of the 30-minute write sprint and the end of the October 9th Write with Us. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I hope it picked up for some people who were having a little trouble there in the middle and you got some good writing done. Yeah, I don't know. It's always a great time hanging out with y'all, talking about writing, getting writing done. One of my highlights of my week. So please, yeah, come back next week. Same time, same place on YouTube, and join us tomorrow night at that event if you can, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, with Richard Brandon Manis talking about creating great TV characters. You can RSVP at arcstudiopro.com/events. And until then, yeah, have a great week, everyone. Be kind to yourselves and happy writing. And yeah, take care. See you guys.